Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Authentic Africa web presentation. My name is Andrea Radke. I am the owner and operator of Lion Dog African Safaris, and I have been active and in business for over 5 years now. So, have some information for you that I would like to share with you. Um, I want to talk to you a little bit more, or mainly, really, about Africa. Africa is one of my great passions, and I have lived in Africa for quite a long time. I have worked in Africa, and I'm going back to Africa fairly frequently, mostly for business reasons, to nurture some business relationships, to talk with people over there, to meet with business partners, etc. And I also go back for personal reasons, just because I love the continent. I love Africa. I love the people in Africa. I love a good safari and looking at some animals, etc. So almost my entire life kind of evolves around Africa and what's happening over there. I take my family over there as well because I feel like showing my family, my son, the continent will give them a little bit more insight of what's going on in the world and how other people live, etc. So I think it's a good learning tool and just makes life a lot more interesting. So why am I talking to you here today? If you know Lion Dog African Safaris, you know that I am usually at this time of the year, I'm on the road and I'm in the air to come to you, to present you with some information about Africa and tell you what things are like over there and how we can make a bucket list trip happen for you and make it the best tour to Africa that we can. As you know, we have quite unique circumstances right now all over the globe. So this is me practicing physical distance, and I like talking to you guys, and I like talking about Africa. It gets me really excited, and I just don't want to miss doing it. So I'm going to do it anyways. And I have found this very new way for me. I know it's not very new at all in the world, but for me it is quite new. So I decided to make a few short, easily palatable information sessions about Africa, how to travel to Africa, how to experience it, what's the best way to do it, and where all you can go in Africa, just so you can get an idea. This way, I can stay connected with you. I can keep talking to you about Africa, and I can also get you ready and informed for when we can actually look at traveling again. I hope it's going to be sometimes this summer. And when you are ready, when you say, yes, I want to go to Africa, at that point in time, you will have all the information that you need to make an informed decision about your trip to Africa. Be it, just one country, be it multiple countries, different areas. Is it going to be just wildlife safari, or do you want to combine some different things on your trip to Africa? So you'll know how we're going to do it, how we can do it, and you will know what you need to know in order to make this trip truly a trip of a lifetime for you. How will these sessions help you? First of all, in this forest of information and overload of news, etc., treat these short sessions, they won't be longer than half an hour. Treat those sessions as a little bit of a spa treatment for your mind. Take your mind off the news. Take your mind off all those new informations, etc., about our situation, and just kind of relax and sit back. I was thinking about playing some bird music or so to kind of give you that relaxing feeling, but I also want you to be focused and listen carefully to the information that you need to make a good decision. So take a break from your daily activities or daily news overload and just indulge in some pretty pictures, some cool information about Africa, talk about nature, talk about wildlife, and all the exciting things that we can do in Africa. So at the end of these sessions, you will be able to make a decision where you want to go, what you want to do, and how long you want to stay in those areas for, in order to take full advantage of what there is for you to see and do. Please keep in mind that typically I stand in front of a crowd. I get some laughter, I get some reactions. I have a joke every now and again, and that's the part that's really fun to interact with you. It's an interactive meeting, and I get a good feeling about how excited you are. If you're excited, some people fall asleep, but most people are getting quite excited. So I am missing that right now, sitting here in front of the computer recording this session. And I hope you can forgive me for being like an amateur at doing this. I am a pro at getting your trip together for you, but this video streaming is quite new for me. So thank you for your patience. I'm so glad you tuned in because I miss working with your people, and I hope you get some good information here, and maybe I can get a smile from you or something like that. Send me some feedback. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me if I'm talking too fast, or if you would rather have more fact information, or if this is casual enough for you, etc. So I want this to be fun. I don't want this to be like classroom sessions or so. Yeah, so send me information, give me some feedback. Tell your friends and family that we're doing this, because even if they have not even thought about going to Africa, maybe they like the pictures, or maybe it's just a nice way of getting your mind off of the daily information, etc. So in those sessions, what are we going to talk about? There will be a total of 7 sessions, including this first one. The next one, so I'll stream those, or I'll send them to you via Facebook. There will be a link on Instagram, and if you are a newsletter subscriber, you will get a direct link in your newsletter that you will receive in your email inbox every Saturday. If you have not yet subscribed to the newsletter, go to the website, liondogafricansafaris.com. Scroll all the way down, and there is a sign up button for the newsletter. That means you don't have to scan Facebook. You'll get that link directly to your newsletter. Pass it on to your friends and family if they would like to see a session, and then you can also come back to it. So if you've seen the first episode, and then you see the second one, and you have a question, and you're like, how was that again? You can rewatch it. So it will be available to you. Will come directly to your inbox, but you can also find it on Facebook, and I have to figure out how, but I'll also send a link onto my Instagram account. Both of them are Lion Dog African Safari. So that's where you'll find me. So the next session in 1 week from now will tell you most of the information you need to know and the logistics about game safari. So why do people go on a game safari? There are different styles of game safaris. What are they? What is the difference? What do I need to know? How is it gonna affect my experience, etc.? What type of venues are we using when we're in Africa? There are different types of venues. There are different comfort levels. I will cover all the information. What kind of vehicles will we use? Because there's different vehicles for different types of safaris. So I will cover all of that. And then also, what is the comfort like? What kind of food are we gonna get? What will I see? What will I experience? And what does a typical day on safari look like? So everything you need to know about game safari will be covered in the first session next week, Saturday. It will come to your inbox with a newsletter, or you can find it on Facebook and Instagram. Session 2 on information sessions will be different game safari areas. We have different areas with different attractions or different unique features that every area has in different parts of Africa as well. We will talk about the Okavango Delta and the Chobe area, which are both in Botswana. What's the difference between them? Why are they so popular, etc. We will talk about the Northern Park Circuit in Tanzania, the Southern Park Circuit in Tanzania as well, and we'll also talk about some other smaller areas for safari that can be combined with other activities, for instance, in Uganda and Tanzania. So the second information session will be everything about game safaris. The third information session will spend some more time introducing you to the countries of Rwanda and Uganda. In those countries, we mostly do mountain gorilla tracking, see the endangered mountain gorillas, and also chimpanzee tracking. We do those in both Rwanda and Uganda, and I will tell you about the differences between those two countries. And I will also spend that session to talk a little bit more about Uganda, because that's a country, in my opinion, that will become quite popular and quite attractive once we are able to travel to Africa again. I have been in Uganda twice, and I have to tell you, it's one of the most interesting and beautiful countries that I have been to. And I am quite biased. I usually say, and it is still, Namibia is still my I want to say my favorite almost, even though there's not really a favorite, but just because I've spent so much time in Namibia, I know the country quite well. It is still one of the nicest countries that I would travel to, but it is very, very closely followed by Uganda and very, very closely followed by Tanzania. So those three countries, you will likely find me spend more time on those countries and tell you a little bit more about them. Session 3 will be quite a bit about Uganda, and I think you will really like it. Session 4 on the information sessions will be other activities in Africa, because there's more things to do than just game safari. There's people go to Africa also to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. The tallest freestanding mountain in Africa is situated in Tanzania. So I'll talk a little bit about climbing Kilimanjaro. I talk some more about the Ngorongoro Highland Track, which is also in Tanzania around the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, where you will have the opportunity to go on a little bit of a backcountry expedition. 4 nights camping along the Great Valley Wall in the Ngorongoro Conservation Area. So I'll talk about that a little bit more. We have a smaller hiking trail in Namibia. It's called the Toktoki Trail. Is in the Namib Game Reserve, so just bordering onto the desert. Quite interesting there as well, shorter, but just as beautiful to do. And then I'll talk a little bit about the Serengeti Marathon. If you're a marathon runner, we can get you to run a marathon in the wilderness and the Serengeti. I'll tell you a little bit more what that looks like. And in that session, I will also cover some cultural visits in Africa, because there's different areas where we can spend some time with the locals, learn more about their lifestyles, learn more about their traditions, etc. And I'll introduce that to you in that session as well. That will be session number 4. And session number 5 on the information. So I'm not counting today's introductory session. I'll call it session number 0. So session number 5 will be some more jewels of Africa, because there's other things to do. Like, for instance, Egypt and the Nile cruise. I'll tell you a little bit about that, how long it takes, what you will see, how we conduct those tours, etc. We'll talk more about Namibia in that information session. I'll take you to Victoria Falls to see more what's offered there, what you can do, how you can spend your time there, how you can combine it with other experiences. We'll talk about Cape Town and the garden route in the area, and a little bit about private game reserves in South Africa as well. And then I will also show you a little bit about the exotic island of Zanzibar, which has beautiful beaches, some cultural experiences, just some time maybe for a little bit of R&R after your safari on the island of Zanzibar, which belongs to the country of Tanzania. So to cover these, and then session number 6, the final session, I will dedicate to frequently asked questions. In that session, I will address some of the things that I often talk about at the end of my presentations, because people have thought about it and they have a question about it. We'll cover some vaccinations, what is needed, medication, etc. We'll talk about visas, talk about luggage, and we'll talk about some food, etc. and things that come up. So the questions that you send me throughout those weeks, I will address them in the last session, and I will most likely, I haven't really made up my mind about that, but I will most likely do that last session as a live stream on Facebook. So when you tune in, you can send me some questions right there and then, and I will try and answer them. We won't have unlimited amount of time, but I will make about an hour for that one to get to most of the questions you're sending me, maybe address the questions you sent me throughout those weeks coming up, and get to you when you're live there with me and have something, that you really want to know and that I can answer at that time. So that will be the last one. If there's more, like if you have, a topic that you would like me to cover, I'm very open to keep doing this and add some more sessions about specific topics that you would be interested in, that we can then address properly in the proper amount of time. Again, usually those sessions will be 20 to 30 minutes at the time. So that will be looking forward and seeing how we can spend this time here with some thoughts about Africa, some excitement about Africa, and get you in the mood and out of the gray areas that envelope us every day here. Maybe find some color and some nice thoughts and some pleasant pictures and lighten your mood a little bit, hopefully. And talk about Africa again. Right now, I don't think you should kind of jump forward and make your plans right now, because nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. We are all sitting here waiting to recover and get this started again, get the travel industry started again, because we're quite affected by the situation. So hang tight, tune in, get some more information, and send me some questions. If those are questions that I don't typically cover in presentations, I will email you. So make sure I have your information so I can get back to you. And then at the end of this will take 6 weeks. So I hope that we will by then be at the point where we can start maybe making some plans or talking about some details and get you to Africa. This is the first step, guys. This is the first step towards your bucket list trip. This is the first step on your way to Africa. This is usually the hardest one because you have to make up your mind. You have to, be committed. I want to go to Africa. Admitting that to yourself and saying, you know what, I know it's a little chaotic out there. I know it's gonna go away. We will get through this, and then I will be ready to go to Africa. So stay tuned. I'll share some pictures. I'll share some of my photos I took in Africa. And if you have been to Africa with me or with Lion Dog African Safaris, feel free to chime in, send me some pictures, send me some information, and I'll share that. And let your friends and family know that we're here. We're in business. We're looking forward to getting this started. We're looking forward to getting back on track and getting you to Africa. Okay? Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Keep your distance, but stay connected. Have a good day. Bye.